It's good at brew, baby. What is up, YouTube? Beautiful boy, Millsy, with Hometown Commander, and we are back for another episode of Millsy Brews, the show where I brew my version 1.0 deck list of the Commander in front of us on my quest to outbrew your favorite Magic channel. This week is going to be our first week of Commander Masters content, but I had to get just one more Lord of the Rings deck in. It was a deck that kind of sat in the almost done phase for the last couple weeks, and I wanted to make sure I finished it up and released it to you guys, and that is Lord of the Nazgul. I find it really funny that, like, for Lord of the Rings, it seems like I'm just really enjoying the villains. I don't know why. But Lord of the Nazgul is a card that I think seems really interesting, and so I wanted to have some fun with it. Lord of the Nazgul is 3 blue and a black for a 4/3 Wraith Noble. Flying Wraiths you control have protection from Ring Bearers. Probably not going to make a ton of difference, but we'll take it. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, we create a 3/3 Wraith, creature token with menace, and then if we have 9 or more Wraiths we control become power and toughness, base power and toughness 9/9 until end of turn. So basically Dimir spell slinging. We care about the Wraiths, so we're going to play the Nazgul. We're going to make a ton of Wraith tokens with casting spells, and we're going to try to win the game with these 9/9s. We're going to try to get them in the air. We're going to try to get them unblockable. We're trying to get them hard to deal with, and hopefully we can end the game. I think we can get to 9 Wraiths. Even just on their own, I feel like they're going to be tough to deal with. But if there's any way that we can make them even harder to deal with, that is the goal. So Dimir spell slinging with some creature payoffs. Starting off with the Landy Lands, because we all love the Landy Lands. Try my best to get this deck, I wouldn't say as cheap as possible, but try to fit it in a fun middle ground where there's a good base to the deck, but obviously, if you have some of the expensive staples laying around and things like that, you can toss them in. Land base feels really good. Odawara for a little bit of bounce. Castle Locklane is just a card I really love, and I love seeing it. Probably one of my favorite black cards to put in a deck, just because you get the extra card draw, and in a deck like this, we're going to be playing a ton of Swamp, so it's going to probably come in untap, which isn't bad either, but obviously the draw for 3 mana can be really helpful if we're trying to get through to some things. Path of Ancestors, we do a decent amount of Wraiths in the deck, so that's going to help us out there. If not, it's just going to tap for both our colors. Reflecting Pool got that great reprint in Lord of the Rings and in Commander Legends too, so it should be a cheaper land hopefully these days. Hopefully it's something that we see get reprinted again. We're trying out the Black Gate as well. It just felt right. We're a villains deck from Lord of the Rings. Let's play the Black Gate. Getting up into our enchantments, I didn't want to go too deep. I mean, it would have been pretty easy to throw a Rhystic Study or a Black Market Connections in here, but I wanted to try to find some other fun cards to try out in a deck like this. Call of the Ring seems like a really great time. At the beginning of each of our turns, the Ring tempts us, which, looking at Nazgul, which is one of our most popular Wraiths, whenever the Ring tempts you, we put a counter on each Wraith we control. So that, you can see that kind of fits exactly what we're trying to do. Phyrexian Arena gave us a draw every turn. And then Reconnaissance Mission says whenever a creature we control does come into a player, we draw a card. So again, it's trying to draw some cards with the tokens we already have out. Getting up into the artifacts, a lot of ways to make mana, and then just a couple payoffs. So Arcane Signet, Commander Sphere, Decanter to give us that no maximum hand size, Dimir Signet, Midnight Clock, Soul Ring, our Talisman, and then we had to try the One Ring out, right? We're playing a villains deck. We're playing the bad guys, the Wraiths, the Human Kings. We had to at least try the One Ring out. Of course, the card's still holding a pretty decent price tag, so obviously you could knock this bad boy out for another 2 or 3 mana rock and probably decrease the price of the deck a lot. But I thought we had to try the One Ring, right? Glamdring seems interesting. The core creature gets first strike and +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery card in our graveyard. That could make either our commander or some of our other creatures pretty big, because we're playing a lot of really cheap spells to take advantage of Lord of Nazgul. But says whenever equipped creature deals common damage to a player, you can cast an instant sorcery from your hand with mana value less than the amount of damage. This could be really beneficial because this has first strike. So there is technically a world where we put this in Lord of Nazgul. It hits someone, we cast a spell from our hand for free, get another Wraith, and then all of our attacking Wraiths become 9/9s, and then maybe we take advantage of that combat. There's plenty of ways this could benefit us, but I felt like it feels right in a deck like this to take advantage of it. Lightning Greaves can protect Nazgul and give him... Lord of the Nazgul and give it haste, which I feel like is important. And then Magical Nexus is going to make all of our creatures wraiths when it comes down, and then we can make wraiths for 3 mana. This is just going to help with Lord of the Nazgul getting us up to that 9 threshold even quicker, and then always making sure that they're becoming base 9/9s until end of turn. Alright, we'll get up into the spells. We'll start with our instants, then we'll go to our sorceries, and a lot of cheap spells. Arcane Denial, and Counterspell for some counterplay, which I felt like was important. Brainstorm, Cackling Counterpart seems great, especially for something like Nazgul. Make another copy of it, get another ability of that effect. Consider, look at the top, and we can put it in the graveyard if we want, and then draw a card. Dark Ritual for some extra mana. Deadly Dispute can sacrifice a creature or artifact. Give us 2 cards or a treasure. Deadly Rollick for a little bit of removal. Frantic Search for a little bit of draw. Infernal Grasp for some removal. Leap could potentially give our commander flying, get around some blockers, and potentially hit in for some good damage. Or give any of our other wraiths flying. I feel like Leap's one of those cards that could just help us get in for some good damage. Mystical Tutor to go get our choice negate for another counter. Opt, scry 1 and then draw. Pongify and Rapid Hybrid for some removal. Press the enemy can return something back to our opponent's hands and let us cast something from our hand without paying its cost. Could be interesting. Could bounce something in to get us a Nazgul. It could bounce something and get us a bunch of other things. I think this is just an interesting card. Obviously, we want to try to return someone's spell back to their hand, but we don't mind returning a permanent back to their hand either. Reality Shift for some exile removal. Shadow Rift says target creature gains Shadow until end of turn, so it can't be blocked except by only creatures with Shadow. Put this on, again, one of our 9/9 Wraiths, on our commander if it's loaded up, one of our Nazguls that's gotten pretty big, and I think this could get us in for some good damage. And then Soothing Smeagol, return target non-token creature to its owner's hand, and then the ring tempts us. We could return our own creature if need be. We could bounce one of our opponents. This is one of those spells that probably has a lot of utility depending on what situation we're sitting in, but the ring tempts us, so hopefully we have a Nazgul and we can take good advantage of that. Getting up into the sorceries, Birthday Escape just draws us a card and ring tempts us. Obviously 10 times better when the Nazgul's out, but otherwise this is going to draw us a card. Damnation for some board wipe. Ball Content, I think we're going to have an extra Wraith token around to sacrifice for this. This and Ringside are acting kind of as our searches when we need them. Feed the Swarm for some removal. Arenicus Vow Duplication can copy Lord of the Nazgul, can copy a lot of things. I think it fits really good in a deck like this. Ponder and Preordain for some draw. Raise the Palisade seems like a great potential finisher for the deck. Pick Wraith, return on non-Wraith creatures to their owner's hands, and potentially just run through people in the game. Seems pretty cool. I think in this scenario, it's going to kind of act like an overwhelming stampede for us because they're just going to make our opponents blocking them, right? Obviously, non-existent, or harder, right? So I feel like raise the Palisade is the way we could end the game. Sam's Desperate Rescue. Turn a creature card from our graveyard to our hand in the ring tempts us. I think this is great to get back a Nazgul if need be, or let our commander die and get it back. I think there's a lot of ways we can use this, but again, the ring's tempting us, so we would get the Nazgul, sure. The really bad part is, unlike Birthday Escape, something has to be there to bring back before we get the ring tempt us. Serum Visions for some draw, slip through space, making creature unblockable, drawing a card, and then solve the equation. I tried my best to put in a few of these slip through space, Shadow Rift, and Leaf type effects, because my thought process on these guys is these could be the last spell we need with Lord of the Nazgul to make a Wraith, make everything 9/9s, and then get a good attack and right. So I think these are kind of the spells you have to consider. I would love to pull, you could pull Frantic Search for something cheaper, but again, I'm just trying to make sure we get through our deck, see a good amount of it, and can utilize those spells. Before we get the creatures, we're just playing one Planeswalker, and that's Professor Onyx. Onyx is in here for its Magecraft ability. It says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, each opponent loses 2 life, and we gain 2 life. This is going to help us just hopefully, kind of siphon our opponents out over time. +1, we can lose a life. Look at the top 3, put 1 into our hand and the rest in the graveyard. -3, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls, so it can be a little mini board wipe. And then -8 says each opponent may discard a card. If they don't, they lose 3 life. Repeat this process 6 times. So could potentially be like a mini, Torment of Hellfire that could hurt our opponents. Again, Onyx is there mainly for that Magecraft ability, but the +1 isn't bad either if we're trying to dig for something important. But, all right. Every one of our creatures with an asterisk is going to be a Wraith except 1 card, and that's Mirkwood Bats. Mirkwood Bats, I feel like, just fits the deck really well. We're going to be trying to make the Wraith tokens on cast. comes in, it's going to ping everybody out. But Bloodline Protector is a changeling. It's going to come down as a Wraith, and then whenever another Wraith comes in, it gets plus counter. Changeling Outcast is every type, so it's a Wraith, and it can't be blocked. This feels really great with Nazgul. Once this becomes a 9/9, then that 9/9 is unblockable. Glasspool Mimic is going to come in as a copy of anything, except it's a shapeshifter rogue, and it's to its other types. It's also a land on the back, which is helpful. I like Glasspool Mimic exactly for Nazgul. It comes down as a copy of Nazgul, has all the abilities, and it's going to make the more the ring tempts us, the better, as far as the putting counters on all of our Wraiths. Ring Wraiths is kind of interesting. It's a little bit overcosted in my opinion, but hey, it's a Wraith and it seems pretty cool. It says when it enters the battlefield, target creature and opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. If that creature is legendary, its controller loses 3 life. And then whenever the ring tempts you, we can return it from the graveyard back to our hands. That's the only upside, is we can probably play it again or something like that. I don't know. It feels awkward in the deck, but I was trying to make sure we got enough normal Wraiths in there to make sure we're taking advantage. Sakashima and Spark Double both do a very similar thing in that they can come down as copies of any other creature, but they can't come down as copies of Lord of the Nazgul and make it non-legendary. Well, Sakashima is going to just turn off legendary rule. Spark Double will make a copy of Lord of the Nazgul that's non-legendary. So that's great because I'm going to potentially get more than 1 Wraith token on every cast. And then Witch King Rammar, whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt damage to you this turn, and the ring tempts us, which is a way to get the ring to tempt us, and then discard a card, it gains indestructible, and tap it. So we can kind of protect it by pitching cards. I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is what I want from a spell slinging deck, right? You get the tokens, you can take advantage of these fun spells that a lot of people just don't play, or a lot of people play but don't really, think about. It still feels really Dimir to me because the Wraiths seem like a kind of a fun idea. I love the Nazgul, and this Pro is so much of the price of this deck comes from is just the Nazgul. So maybe that's one of those things where if you're looking to build a deck like this, you try to get as many as you can. I think the deck could still function without the Nazgul because obviously we're making Wraiths every time we cast a spell. I just think the Nazgul make the deck more fun and give you that probably a push towards a final hit on your opponents. Let me know what you think of Lord of the Nazgul down in the description. We got more Commander Master stuff coming up. If you guys haven't seen the poll, you guys overwhelmingly voted for Eldrazi. So week 1 later this week is going to be Eldrazi. I'm really excited about that. And we're going to do the rest of the precons in the order that you guys voted for. So I'll intermix a bunch of the commanders from Commander Masters. I'm going to try my best to cover as many of the commanders that have the little profile shots as I can. A couple of them have me excited because they're commanders I've kind of thought about for a while, and so now I get to do them. But I'm going to just try my best to have some fun with the decks as they're there. And then, later this year, we've got Doctor Who, we've got Wilds of Eldraine. I'm excited about those sets. I'm excited to brew some more for you guys. And like I said, I'm hoping by the end of August, we'll have Brawl content for you guys coming back on Arena. I'm excited about that. I'm working on getting things ready so that we can bring that back in a way I want to bring it back, and bring it back consistently where you guys can enjoy it. So let me know what you guys think of Lord of Nazgul down in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time.